What's up, everyone? So, today I wanted to make a video for you guys about the true superfood for looks maxing and health. So, let's get into it. So, we'll just get straight into what the food is. So, it's beef liver. I'm sure you guys have heard about the importance of raw organs like liver, heart, within sort of the looks maxing community over the years. But I'm really going to touch on beef liver specifically. And this isn't necessarily going to be a video promoting the carnivore diet or you know, I guess overconsumption per se of raw organs, but I do think beef liver can really help a lot of people sort of fast track their looks maxing goals alongside their health goals and benefits as well. So, just to really get into why beef liver is so good. So, what are the goals when you sort of think about nutrition from a looks maxing health sort of perspective? Well, you want those immediate looks maxing benefits. So, think about skin. So, how can we avoid acne breakouts? Hair, this is one of those things where, look, we really just don't want to be under optimized and have any deficiencies that would lead to us not having our best hair possible. And I think this is really the main one people think about is physique. And really, that just goes down to a lot of the, mainstream, I guess, characters we have nowadays just promoting protein. I mean, that's really the main trend over the past few years, just protein optimization. But then also looks maxing, this goes a little bit away from that, but how can we optimize our hormones to feel and perform better? So, your nutrition is definitely going to affect the way you feel. That's why you don't want to be over consuming processed foods. But this video isn't necessarily about, the importance of nutrition. I really want to get more to beef liver specifically. But what are some of the other goals we really have? Well, we really want to sustain these health and longevity markers that we get from these immediate looks maxing benefits. So think about general health markers. The more you can avoid general sickness and disease over the long term, the better your looks are going to be, the less stress your body is going to have. And just overall sustaining those looks maxing benefits that you'll get from a diet. Now, I can make other videos on how important I think diet is for looks and how that can sort of vary depending on your age, but that's beside the point. If we look at the beef liver profile here within the table on the right, you really see what beef liver is good for is really vitamin A, copper, vitamin B12, and B2. And I really like to focus in on vitamin A and copper because those are going to be the two ones that can really elevate your skin health, and you're getting them in very high doses with beef liver. And when I get into more of the application of all this, you can see where you really don't want to overconsume beef liver just because it has so much vitamin A and copper to where you actually can run the risk of it being an overload and getting to the point of toxicity. But to give you guys a brief story about how I got into beef liver was, working jobs where you put a bit of a strain on your vision or just doing a lot of these sort of, research tasks over the years, being more exposed to, screens. That's when I was kind of starting to realize like I never want to have to rely on glasses or contacts. Like that just seems like such a hassle to me for someone who hasn't ever had to deal with that, and you start to see your vision maybe take a little bit of a step back. So that's sort of why I got into beef liver specifically, just mainly for vision benefits. But when you look at the nutritional profile as a whole, I mean, the actual skin support you're going to get, and it's basically nature's multivitamin. And to give you guys some more perspective, a popular peptide you see nowadays is GHKCU. And what is that? It's basically a copper peptide. Well, here in beef liver, you get a ton of copper. So it's just to point out where this food has a lot of nutritional benefits that are really going to benefit your skin in overall health and metabolism. And from my overall general lens of diet, you're getting that sort of red meat consumption, and therefore you're getting a lot of that nutritional profile. So therefore, you can sort of avoid the maybe negative benefits of eating, red meat from a actual like health and longevity perspective. But that's sort of a debate for another day, which I can talk about it in a different video on how I'm applying nutritional concepts to my daily life. But what is the application of all of this? Well, this is just the macros to show you guys what eating 4 ounces of beef liver would look like. It's a lean protein source, so you're really just not getting much from a carbohydrate or fat perspective, and it's pretty much going to be protein. So you really don't have to worry about, oh, if I eat this, I'm going to go over my calories or whatever. No, you're pretty much going to get pure protein, so you don't really have to worry about that. Um, but what I'm doing currently, which I want to make a video on the current diet that I'm following, just so you guys get a better perspective on my outlook on everything. But I'm currently doing 2.5 ounces every other day. So for most people, 2 to 3 ounces, 2 to 4 times a week is going to be good. And like I mentioned, you don't want to overconsume this just because you could run the potential risk of getting too much vitamin A and copper. And from a practical standpoint, I think the reason why you don't see this food come up as much in maybe like longevity circles or other health applicants is just because the taste, I personally, I've been eating sort of a, just health or bodybuilding based diet to where you're not putting like a ton of effort maybe into flavoring things. You sort of just accept the food for what it is to a certain degree for a while now. So getting used to a taste or just getting over a taste isn't really that big of a deal to me. And beef liver, it does have a little bit of like a turn off taste. Like I don't think I would ever really love the taste. It's certainly not like ground beef or steak where it tastes that good. It definitely has that extra kick to where it's not the greatest tasting thing in the world. Um, but it is something to where, look, 2.5 to 3 ounces, like that's pretty much going to be like 6 little pieces or bites usually of beef liver. So, if you can't do that a couple of times a week to increase your looks or really maximize and optimize your health, you kind of have to just reevaluate a little bit. But where do you get this? So it's not something you've probably ever looked out for if you're just, a normal person going to the grocery store, but it actually is very easy to find at Walmart. So Walmart, they'll have it usually in sort of like almost like side freezer fridge sort of by the beef section, and they'll usually have calf liver and beef liver, so you can just get it, get a ton of it, store it in your freezer. I've gotten it from local butchers where it's perfectly raised, grass fed and everything, but I really just don't want to pay almost 4 times the price just from a practical standpoint. So getting at Walmart or, if you can't find it there, a backup location. I don't go to that many grocery stores. I usually go to Costco or Walmart. But other grocery stores will usually have it as well. But you can also go to like a Mexican sort of Latino grocery store as a last resort if you have one in your area, and they usually have some pretty interesting cuts of meat. But it's really pretty cheap. Like in my local area, you're getting it for around $2.50 per pound. So it's a pretty easy thing to apply to your diet and life that has a lot of ROI and a lot of sort of longevity benefits when you think about the actual skin and collagen benefits. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks.